And with that out of the way, let's go right ahead and let's talk about this amazing news. It's a glorious day here in New York. The Brooklyn Nets, they've officially sacrificed themselves. They sacrificed their season, just so that a New York team can be successful and prosper in this new light of the Celtics winning the championship. New York as a city must have been like, all right, okay, so these Celtics, they won. Get this, we can't have this. So now the the Knicks, they seem to be competing as to to try and match up between the Celtics and the that's really what this trade entails. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the trade details, because there's a lot of picks that were traded as well. Hold on just a second. Because not only was Bogdanovich trade Bojan, excuse me, always mix up those two, but not only was he dealt with in the trade, but the Knicks also ended up sending four unprotected picks: 2025, 2027, 2029, and 2031, and a 2025 protected Milwaukee first round pick, a 2028 unprotected pick swap, a 2025 second round pick, and a 2026 second round pick. Actually, no, 2025 second round pick. That was what was traded for Mikal Bridges, and also a 2026 second round pick. So the Nets, they also gave up their 2026 second round pick in exchange for Mikal Bridges, but they got a lot in return. They got Bojan and they got the rest of those unprotected picks. And another thing that the Brooklyn Nets ended up doing is they ended up engaging in a trade with Houston, which essentially gave them all of their picks back, the picks that they lost while they were doing the trades with Kevin Durant and things of that nature. So they ended up getting all of their picks back. So they're committed to a full rebuild, which is what I've been praying and I've been screaming to the mountaintops for the longest time. I wanted them to rebuild. I didn't want them to try again with Mikal Bridges. I actually wanted this trade to happen because it would be suitable for both teams. Like, the Knicks, they would get the Villanova squad back together: Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges. They all played on Villanova together, and they all won a championship together. So this right here is, I think, this is a team that is good enough and is able to compete against the Celtics as of right now. However, there are still some more questions that need to be answered in this free agency with the Knicks. So after based off of this trade and after this trade, I think that Julius Randle's time in New York is done. I don't think Julius Randle is going to be a New York Knick anymore. I think the Knicks are going to end up trading him to try and get either other role players or maybe get other picks as well. I'm not entirely sure what direction they're going to go with this, but I think that they're going to get rid of Randle. It makes no sense to keep Randle on the team with the chemistry that the Villanova boys have now. And not only that, the Knicks, they also have to re-sign OG Anunoby. And re-signing OG Anunoby and, keeping Julius Randle while also adding on Mikal Bridges, that's a lot. And they don't want to end up being in that first apron or that second apron. I mean, unless they're in that win, they could end up being in the first apron, but going into that second apron, they don't want to really be in that situation. But if they were to trade Randle, then I have a feeling that they're able to capitalize on having a deep bench, as well as being able to still have some other players. Even though Thibs, he barely plays the bench and he barely allows any of the starters to sit out in a lot of the games. During the regular season, I don't think that's going to... I think they may or may not have learned from their mistakes. Again, this is still the Knicks, and the Knicks are notorious for not learning from their past mistakes. So maybe they learned from their past mistakes and they're trying to at least during the regular season, they'll allow a lot of these players to rest, like, just a little bit. Like 46 minutes, I understand that Josh Hart wants to play 46 minutes, but that is a lot of time. 82 games, 46 minutes. It's a lot of playing, and it's not really that safe. Like I mean, I'm all for the players, like, playing every single game, yes, but take a breather sometimes. Like, we need you we need you healthy eventually, when the games are going to matter a lot more than this. So just take it easy. But I think that Julius Randle, his time is done, and now the Knicks, they have to re-sign OG Anunoby by any means possible, and they also have to get Isaiah Hartenstein back as well. But because this roster, that if they have Jalen, if they have DiVincenzo, if they have Josh Hart, most likely he might come off the bench. I think Josh Hart is probably going to be the one that comes off the bench, but depending on how the lineups go and how the rotations are going to go, I believe that this is a very solid lineup, and this lineup can eventually beat. Actually, you could put Josh Hart at the sixth man. You could put DiVincenzo at the sixth man. Depends on who you go up against in the playoff series. But I think that this roster that they have accumulated now has enough pieces to be able to compete against the Boston Celtics and their lineup that they have. Because, Jalen Brunson, while he is going to be the weakest defender in the starting rotation, his offense more than makes up for it. He's going to be matched up against Drew, and then between DiVincenzo and Josh Hart, he's going to be matched up against Derek White. But again, it's depending on the angle that you go. If you want to go with like much more scoring options, then you can put in Jalen and DiVincenzo. But if you want to work on if you want to have a defender at the guard position, because there might be a starting guard that is going to be very good, and you don't want Jalen matching up against that, you can put Josh Hart in the starting lineup and have Josh Hart guard whichever big man is, well, not big man, whichever one of those guards is going to be in that starting rotation. You could even put Mikal Bridges coming off the bench and being that other scoring option when Jalen Brunson decides to is sitting out. You could do so many things with this lineup, and it's really, really difficult to ultimately determine a good enough starting lineup with all of these guys in the starting lineup, because I think one of the Villanova guys is going to have to come off the bench, and because then the matchups would be better when going up against the Boston Celtics, because then Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, the two main players on the Boston Celtics, they're most likely going to be guarded by Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, and they're both incredibly competent defenders. They both have the height, they have the length that they need in order to guard both of those players. And I think those matchups are very, very well suited for the Knicks. And if there's any team that can compete against the Celtics, it's going to be the Knicks next year, along with the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, as long as they have Giannis, they're always going to be a competing team. And I mean, that's my opinions on this move. Like, really, it's a move meant to counter the Boston Celtics. Like, this is what I see in the move. Now all that's left is winning time. I mean, the Nets, they sacrificed their entire future. Well, not really their entire future. Honestly, they just sacrificed their player and a good season now so that the Knicks can win and beat the Celtics in the future. So that's that's what I see this move as well. And I'm very hopeful for this season with the Knicks. And as a Nets fan, yay, tanking! Because they haven't, obviously, they're most likely going to win every single game, but it's like trading away your best player. It means that you're going into a full rebuild, and that implies a little bit of tanking. I'm not saying that they're going to intentionally lose every game, but they're not in a competing state. They're just in a rebuilding state, and it's like, yay, tank. So that's all that I have to say on this about this first segment. So now we will go ahead and go into the second segment, where I talk a little bit about Kevin Durant and Jimmy Butler, as the Houston Rockets have expressed some interest in acquiring them via trade. So I will be right back after this short break. Be sure to stay tuned.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?